Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hello, everyone. I am Dominique Debroux. I am in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, which is right near Manhattan. So if you think of New York, we're right over the Hudson River. And I am a nutritional chef, a food therapy counselor, and a menopause activist. So my life and the work that I do today were shaped both by my intrinsic connection to the natural world and by the challenges I've faced along the way. It all began in Italy, where I started my life to a Belgian father and an Italian mother. For the first 9 years of my life, Italy was my whole world. And it's where I discovered my love of good food and where I learned that what you eat should always be as close to nature as possible. My earliest memories are of visiting farmers and just going right to the farms to get the freshest ingredients possible. And then coming back and cooking in the kitchen with my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother. These women taught me that the natural world is endless and it is generous. And if we honor it, the food that it gives us isn't just sustenance, it's flavor, pleasure, and health, all woven together. But when we immigrated to the United States, nothing against the US, but we landed in Connecticut, and that was my first introduction to the ultra-processed food world. Luckily, my mother never gave in. She cooked everything from scratch, even starting a co-op with friends where one of them would drive weekly to the Hunts Point Market in the Bronx, and that's where all the best New York restaurants shopped to get the freshest produce. That kind of commitment really stuck with me. The first major turning point in my life came at 20. I was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive form of cervical cancer. Doctors recommended a radical surgery that would have been years of painful reconstruction and physical therapy. Well, before I made that decision, I was blessed to be introduced to a holistic doctor. Now, think about it. 40 years ago, naturopathy and herbal medicine were not exactly mainstream. But with her guidance, I combined Western medicine with food therapy, supplements, meditation, and psychology. And to everyone's surprise, including the doctors, I healed without surgery. And that experience blew my mind open. It taught me that food and nature are not just background players here. They are the foundation of our health and our energy and our ability to recover from even the deepest traumas. So that healing led me to study nutrition in college. I had a little bit more time there and I just went into the nutrition classes, but I didn't yet have the courage to follow that calling. Instead, I took the more traditional career path my family wanted me to take, and I went into business. And I had always been interested in fashion. It fascinated me, and I was a personal shopper at Bloomingdale's even starting at 16. And so I went into the corporate world of fashion, and I built a 25-year career in that area, including leading US divisions of European fashion companies. Along the way, and most importantly, I met the love of my life, my filmmaker husband, Christopher Henze, and together we raised our daughter, Gaia. She's the joy in my life. But life tests us again and again. So in 2012, I was hit with a 1-2 punch of health and career challenges. My body was falling apart. I had constant fatigue, muscle aches, cognitive decline so deep that at one point I forgot one of my brother's names. I couldn't remember his name. And my gynecologist just brushed it off as perimenopause. But because of my cancer history, hormone therapy was not an option. His advice, painkillers or pain relievers for the aches, sleep better, reduce stress. But I knew something else was going on. So I pushed for answers. And eventually, with the help of a holistic general practitioner, I was diagnosed with neurological Lyme's disease. At the same time, the ageism in fashion that I had always felt lurking right around the corner suddenly became unavoidable. All of a sudden, now the industry demanded twice of my work for half the recognition. The joy was gone. So here I was, having to do all of the integrative approach that I had for cancer to Lyme's. And one of the big things is reducing stress, right? Western medicine, herbal therapy, nutrition, and lifestyle changes. And stress release is a big one. And I had this situation with my career. So I shifted into consulting, carved out time to heal, and also began producing films with my husband. Together, we made 40 Weeks. It's a documentary that celebrates women's pregnancy journeys, and it followed 13 families through the whole process from conception to birth. Well, I was disciplined about my healing journey, and 9 months into treatment, my neurological symptoms had reversed. A year and a half later, Lyme's was barely showing up in my blood work, and 4 years later, it was gone. That victory reignited my love of food as therapy, and I launched Anna Maria's. It's a food brand named after my mother that is rooted in the traditional Piemontese recipes of my birth. And later, I partnered with an Italian food scientist, and that's largely what I'm doing now, to bring Altro Food to the US. It's a line of shelf-stable, plant-based protein mixes that reimagine all the comfort foods from meat eaters into a plant-based lifestyle and into a sustainable form. But by then, once I had started all these things, healed from Lyme's, I had gone full into menopause. I managed the physical symptoms in the same way that I had done all my healing journeys, with nutrition, lifestyle, and discipline. But I still had deep questions. What exactly was happening to me, to my body? Why did society treat this like a decline? And why did I feel like I was being told to step aside when I had the most to offer? Well, Christopher was already working on a project interviewing doctors, gynecologists specifically. So I asked him to ask questions on my behalf. The answers were infuriating. Menopause was described as a modern issue and even nature's mistake. That didn't feel true, and it wasn't true. Together, Chris and I dug deeper into anthropology, neuroscience, genetics, and history. And what we found became the foundation of our film, Wise Women, Why Menopause Matters. We discovered that menopause is not a mistake at all. It is an evolutionary adaptation. When our female ancestors became post-fertile, they didn't step aside, they stepped up. And free from reproduction, they organized communities, safeguarded fire, passed down knowledge, and nurtured survival. They fueled the social complexity that allowed our brains to grow. That's what made us humans. Menopause made us human. That realization was cathartic. And it reframed my own experience, stripped away the patriarchal conditioning that had told me to stay small, stay quiet, be agreeable. And it gave me the permission to speak, to lead, and not to put up with fools, right? Menopause didn't take my power. It gave me wings. So today, my advocacy is simple but vital. Menopause is not a decline. It is ascension. It is the evolutionary gift that has always turned women into the leaders humanity needs most. My early life and health struggles gave me the love and knowledge of food as medicine. And my career taught me how undervalued women are and how much we undervalue ourselves sometimes. And menopause gave me my voice, my ferocity, and now my mission. And that's who I am. And that's why I'm here, to remind women and the world that this isn't the end of us, that this isn't the end of our story. It is the beginning of our leadership. And Gertrude, I think you have a video to show.
Oh my gosh, what an inspiring presentation. This is just wonderful, wonderful to hear. A lot of women need to hear the story, and this is the trailer. Can you explain what the trailer is about?
Sure. This is the trailer of our film, Wise Women, which is weeks from release.
Fantastic. Here we go.
Oh, they can't stop her now with their words of doubt. She's brave. She's powerful. Menopause is like the richest, most enjoyable period of my life. Like, I feel so gratified and I feel so elated to get here. And there was always this fear, like, oh, you're going to grow up to be a childless cat lady.
How are these just the last years of my life? What am I supposed to use this to pick the right retirement home and, put together a good funeral? No, it doesn't make sense.
If we talk about Darwinian evolution or things like that, that there must be a reason for this to have happened.
The little element of crazy into this.
It is much bigger than the grandmother hypothesis.
This idea that no one lived past the age of 40 is patently false. It's not true.
All the crap has just vanished. You're talking about the victory of the Crohn's.
Oh, she can't be anything that she wants to be. She's alive. She's powerful, inspirational, never alive. She's powerful, inspirational, never alive.
Let's look at a matriarchal answer to this and say that it's a time for women to lead in the world as opposed to procreate.
Once you start to look at, identify, and describe the architecture of patriarchy, you see that there is an absolute way around it to take it down.
Wow. Absolutely inspirational. The timing of your work, Dominique, is just impeccable.
Well, I think it's more the universe that chooses a time, because we've been working on this for a while, and it's just, everything's coming together to have it happen and come out now. And I think it's because it's almost as if the rise of women is happening already, And the bully culture that is getting louder, it's because they can see it and they're trying to bring us back down, but we won't.
Now, there's no putting the cat back in the box. That's not going to happen.
No.
So what was the most shocking or frustrating response that you received from the medical field when you sought answers around menopause?
Well, certainly the sentence, we have to treat menopause as nature's mistake was awful. But it was the general sense that in the film, for instance, one of the doctors, she's a major educator. She says that they only spend 1 hour on menopause, gynecologist, in their training, right? And so largely the message is that we as women are important during our reproductive phase, but no other time. And that is so untrue.
That is just so crazy. Now, throughout your work, you've also described menopause as not a mistake of nature, but an adaptation.
Yes.
Can you explain this powerful reframe?
Sure. So an adaptation in, Darwinian logic, let's say, is something's not working and not moving the being forward. And so the being changes, And so that's the whole thing. Our pre-Homo sapien ancestors, the groups that had postmenopausal women that could concentrate and help to organize a society as it was stopping around fires, as it was learning to cook their food, did better. And so therefore, that that DNA moved forward to the next level. And the more there were post-reproductive women helping the society, it was creating the social complexities. And social complexities are one of the forces that grow our brain, that make us think more and have to have bigger brains. And that is why it's an adaptation. So we wanted more women to live post their reproduction to help society.
Fantastic. It's just incredible. Now, how did your research with your husband and the OBGYN community shape your understanding of menopause?
I think the first thing is when we spoke to, or Christopher spoke to, an anthropologic biologist or a biological anthropologist. Sorry, I'm not sure which way it goes. But basically, those that study things like what are the ages of the groups that they're studying, that they're finding. And when we said to her, we're not meant to live post 40 and we've only been doing it in modern times, that's what medicine is telling us. And she's like, oh no, we have known for a long time that that's not the case. And it's because a lifestyle average or a lifetime average means that you're taking all of the death in infancy and death in childbirth into the average. If you take those out, then life went beyond reproduction millennia ago.
Wow. So what inspired you to create the film Wise Women, Why Menopause Matters? And what do you hope audiences will take away from it?
So I have to say that the inspiration really came more from Christopher's inability to accept the answer that it's nature's mistake. He is like that. If he sees something that is unjust or unfair, he just can't stop. He has that hyper focus. And as I just saw him keep going, I was like, well, you're right. And let's look more. And so we went deeper and deeper and deeper. What
Amen.
that did for my life is that I started seeing how much of kind of the patriarchal veils I still had on me. And it started taking things off. And I started realizing that we have so much more to offer in our later years than I had ever been taught. And that's what I hope women take from it. And it doesn't mean that they have to lead, become political or something like that. It
Yeah.
means leading anywhere you are, within your family, within your community. Just remember that you have a wise woman brain, and it's from years of experience. You've grown it. Use it.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love it. Now, what role does food and nutrition play in empowering women through perimenopause and menopause?
It's huge. So look, perimenopause and menopause, what it really does to you is that it takes away all excuses.
Mhm.
And we see that also with men when they hit their 40s, right? The testosterone in their system before, it feels like they could eat concrete and digest it. And then all of a sudden everything stops. And we're kind of the same when the hormones leave our body.
Yes.
What those did for us and gave us excuses of eating junk, now we can't anymore. Now it's
Yeah.
all clear. So it's not that it's now a whole new way of living. It's that all the things that you had heard and learned, pay attention to your protein, to your fiber, to your prebiotic fiber, keep sugar down. Alcohol's not good for you. All of those things, you don't have any more excuses in perimenopause and menopause. So once you start eating well and giving yourself nutrition, it affects everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being aware that your food is your medicine.
It is. It is. It's
Mm.
what you are. It's the building blocks. So, I remember a poster in the nurse's office at school. You are what you eat.
Yeah.
It's always been the truth. It still is.
So true. So, how can men become allies in recognizing and supporting the leadership potential of women in this life stage?
So, first of all, by understanding that it doesn't diminish them.
Mm.
We are different. We have different brains and we think differently.
Yeah.
A great way of explaining it is something that Chris came up with. If you remember the beginning of computers and the colors were very pixelated, very few color possibilities, right?
Yeah.
And now the color amazingness of our computers. Well, that's kind of the male brain and the female brain. So it doesn't mean that the simpler, pixelated, few colors male brain is bad. Sometimes we need that simplicity. We need to categorize it to be able to move forward. But if you're going to look at society and how you're going to fix things, there are so many types of people, so many voices, and so many ways of living that if you try to categorize it in too few things, you're cutting off people's voices and rights, right? So
Yes.
leadership has to be the two together, where sometimes I go to Chris because I've got a decision to make, but there's this shade of green and this and this and this and this and this. And he listens to all of that and he goes, doesn't that green seem to shine a little bit brighter? I'm like, yeah, right? So we work together like that. And then there are times where he's trying to do something and it's overwhelming because it's too many colors. And I come in and I help him bring it together.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I like to ask my guests a question that teleports you back into the past.
Mm-hmm.
And we go and have a conversation with the younger you.
Okay.
The young woman who found herself crossing that line, not feeling well, not feeling herself, confused. Just in case there is someone who is listening to us right now and is about to transition, what 3 nuggets of wisdom can you give her based on what life has taught you up until this point?
The first nugget is sometimes we know, we can feel when we're not feeling ourselves, and we're not feeling that our sense of self is high. And so we kind of concentrate on, how do I believe in myself more? I think the easier thing is, as you make every decision, from what you're going to eat in that moment, drink in that moment, how you're going to deal with that particular work issue, etc., is this a restrictive decision or an expansive decision? And go for what is the expansive, right? What lets you speak, what lets you breathe. So that's number one. Number two is, yeah, it'd be great if we could all eat, cheesecakes and pizza all the time and be healthy, but that's not the truth. So stop lying to yourself and find joy in nature's bounty, healthy foods. And last is, speak up. Don't flatten yourself, speak up.
Absolutely love it. Now we're going to teleport into the future and looking ahead. What legacy do you want your work, your activism, your film, and your story to leave for the next and future generation of women?
I want that the future generation of women looks at menopause in the same way that we now look at going through what I like to call menastart, right? Because my daughter was actually starting her whole menastart journey when I was stopping it. And let's remember that whatever difficulties are there and all of that, there's an excitement about this new role that is starting when we're becoming a woman, as we quite often call it. Well, remember that it's the same thing with menostop. You are becoming your own best leader. You are birthing yourself into the leadership phase of your life. And so, yeah, it's a different thing. We have fewer years ahead of us than when we're at menostart, but we have great years ahead of us. So I hope that going forward, women rejoice at getting to menopause instead of dreading it.
I absolutely love it. It is an exciting time of a woman's years because you have lived your life, your children have grown up, you are confident. And like you were saying earlier, it is the time where you can really step into leadership.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing with you a wealth of knowledge from your life experience. So it should be a celebration. It should be something that we look forward to and not dread.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And that only comes with us understanding our bodies, understanding what's actually going on, understanding how to deal with those hot flushes, the mood swings, controlling the hormones, etc.
Yes.
So
And
knowledge
then
is power.
And then also understanding that there are a lot of different types of women and we look different. We think similarly as women, but also differently, and accept ourselves the way we are. It's just such a challenge of what the more patriarchal beauty system and age system puts us through, that we're supposed to look a certain way, be a certain way, and all of that. None of us are the same. So let's stop. Let's be the healthiest version of ourselves at whatever age we are. How's that?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And a beautiful way to end our podcast. Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you for your work. Thank you for empowering women to rise up, stand up, be heard, and be seen. This is our time. There is a need for a powerful injection of feminine energy all over the world, leadership positions in particular. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, Gertrude. Thank you so much for doing this and letting our voices shine.
It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We're a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a woman who is going through menopause, is about to go into menopause, or has struggled with menopause for a while, this is a community that can support you. You are not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. This is going to be the best phase of your life. I'll be back again tomorrow with another amazing guest, everybody. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks again for the interview, Dominique.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates, and join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.